Hi everyone, welcome to my channel and welcome back. I'm Jeannie and you know I love trying out new brand of tips. So when Apres announced that they were finally releasing almond shaped tips, I knew I had to try them because you know almond is my favorite shape. So I'm really excited to give these a try, and not only did they release almond shape, for these they kind of redesigned them to where they included some half sizes, which is really great if you're in between sizes, as well as I believe they said that the free edge is a little bit thicker, and then where the cuticle line is, it's a little bit thinner. So definitely curious to see how these work. I have flatter nail beds, so I did buy the natural, which means they don't have as high of an apex as if you were to buy the sculpted. So just want to take a quick look at the tips and show you, like, they are teeny tiny. I bought the short almond, and spoiler alert, they almost didn't fit my nails because they were so short. Like, in my opinion, I would probably call these an extra small. Oh, and hey, there I am in the lid. That's great. I had to go extra short on my natural nails just to make sure that these tips fit. So I went ahead and did my cuticle prep. And then I've also got this Gel-X prep, which is kind of like a liquid etch, which I really love the idea of this, so that way I don't have to take my efile and etch the inside of my tips. This is supposed to chemically etch it, which just makes it so much easier because it is such a pain, in my opinion, to etch your tips. So now let's get into choosing my size tips. I like to do my sizing before I get into my gel base, just because I don't want the tackiness to get on my tips when I'm choosing my size. So remember, when you're choosing sizing, it is very critical. You want to make sure that the tip isn't too large, and that but it's covering your entire nail from sidewall to sidewall. If it's just a little bit too small and not covering your entire nail, you could experience pop-offs, so you want to make sure you're getting that full coverage. So I'm just checking the sizing, and as you can kind of see here, it's a little bit too short. It tapers before my nail bed, so that's too small, so I went a size up. So if you're in between sizes, you always want to make sure that you're sizing up, and then you can always file down. But the great thing about these new Apres tips is they have the half sizes. So they've now introduced 4.5, 5.5, and 6.5. And what I found was all of these fit really well. I did not have to file down. I did not have to size up and file down, which was really awesome. And the other thing I'll say, which is really great about these tips, is I had to do no work on my cuticles. So normally with other brand tips, most other brand tips, I have to do some shaping of my cuticle line just because they're mostly like squared off. And my cuticle lines for the most part are rounded. But for these tips, they were already rounded and I didn't have to do any cuticle work, which was awesome. If you're curious about what's on my right hand, this is Nancy Mulligan from Gigi's Nail Co. And this is actually from the March Concealed Chaos box from Chaos Concepts. So she actually releases limited edition monthly boxes, and every box she has a guest dip company that makes a dip that kind of matches the Perpetual Chaos color. And this one is so perfect. I believe she'll be releasing it soon, so keep an eye out on that, as well as keep an eye out for the April Concealed Chaos boxes. They are very limited, but they are so worth it. I love the boxes so much. Now that I've got my tips all sized out, I'm going to go ahead and use my Gel-X prep to etch the inside of my tips. So from what I understand, you want to take that liquid etch and scrub it into the inside of the tip. You don't want to just brush it on, you want to scrub it. So you can see here, I'm rubbing it on really well just to make sure I get that good etch. So I'm going to go ahead and do this to all my tips, and then we'll get into a little bit of prep before we apply the tips. I'm going to be using my Melody Susie 2-in-1 nail art lamp, and it is still my absolute favorite to use when I'm applying tips because it just makes it so easy. I love that it's a touch sensor at the top to switch it from LED to UV for curing, so definitely recommend this lamp. So I went ahead and applied my gel base off camera, and I'm going to be using my West Coast Dips Super Stick, which is a thicker gel to apply my tips. This is one of my favorites to use when I'm applying tips. It's either that or the iGel Beauty Clear Sculpture Gel. Those are my two favorites. And as you can see here, this tube is almost empty because I use it so much, because I like that it's thicker and the tips kind of stay where I put them. I don't have to worry about air bubbles or anything like that. So I do have 2 extra tubes, but I want to make sure I'm using up every last bit of this because I love it so much. So once I've got a little bit applied to the tip of my nail, I'm going to go ahead and apply it to my nail. So I'm going to start at my cuticle line and then gently press down to where the gel flows towards the free edge and covers up my entire nail. And then I'll give that a quick flash cure for 15 seconds. And it was that quick and easy. Once I'm done with all 5 fingers, then I'll give them a full cure in my big 48 watt UV LED lamp for 60 seconds, but the flash cure will just hold them in place until I'm ready. So going on to my middle finger, I'm going to take some of that super stick and just put a small dot at the cuticle line of the inside of the tip. You don't need a lot because it's thicker and a little bit will go a long way. So once I've got that in there, I'm going to apply it to my nail. So I'm going to start at my cuticle line and then gently press down to where the gel flows towards the free edge. I'm going to make sure everything is straight and even. And then once I have it where I want it, I'm going to go ahead and give it a quick flash cure. So now that I've kind of walked you through a couple, I will just let you watch the rest of my nails. I still love how quick and simple this process is. I think unedited, it took less than 10 minutes to do all 5 fingers. So I went ahead and gave them a full cure in my lamp for 60 seconds. So now I'm doing a little bit of cleanup. So I'm taking my hand file. You can use an e-file as well, but it's so little cleanup that I decided to just use my hand file. And I'm cleaning up my sidewalls and my cuticle area, and I'm also buffing the surface of my tips, because I find for my peel base, it works best on a gel top coat. So I'm buffing off the surface so I can apply a gel base and gel top coat on top of these tips. If you don't top your tips with gel top coat, or if you don't use peel base, you can totally skip this step. You can just clean up your sidewalls and your cuticle area. You don't have to rough up the surface of your tip. That's just my personal preference on what I do for my tips. I also like to clean up the shape a little bit. Obviously, they're brand new tips, so I don't want to change the shape, but I just want to clean them up a little bit. And like the end of the free edge, it's got that little nub. So I always like to make sure that I'm filing that off as well, just to make sure everything is nice and clean. So I'm going to dust off, and then I will go ahead and do it off camera for the rest of my fingers. So here we are with the tips fully applied before I apply my gel top coat. So my final thoughts on these Apres Gel-X short almond tips. I think they are really great. They're really easy to use. I love, love, love that they've got the half sizes. I love that I don't have to do any shaping at the cuticle line, so it made it even quicker. My only thing is, which I know isn't a complaint from a lot of people, is to me these short are more like extra short because I have kind of medium length nail beds. So they're a little too short, I think, for me. I like them just a little bit longer. Like they almost didn't fit my nail beds because they were so short. But I still like them. I'm trying to get used. I feel like I know they're not nublets. I know you're probably laughing at me, but to me, they feel like nublets because they are so short. But having said that, I think they're really great quality. I think they have the right amount. They're not too thick. They're not too thin. They're really comfortable to wear. So I would definitely recommend these tips to try because I think they're really great. And I did also buy, I think, the short square as well, so I'll be giving those a try as well. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was helpful, and if it was, I'd appreciate it if you gave this video a thumbs up. It lets me know to continue creating content like this, and it also helps YouTube recommend me to others, which helps grow my channel. And if you haven't already, please consider subscribing. I upload content every Monday and Thursday at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. As always, I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.